Good afternoon, everybody. One moment. Laura Hansel here. Got an echo. Okay. Welcome, everybody. It's 3:01. It is Wednesday, February 18th. It is, but it was not sounding right, and I was getting an echo over here. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because I had it mute on my computer and it was echoing, which is weird. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I believe we're good. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the county's Committee for Persons with Disabilities. It's Wednesday, February 18th. We're calling this meeting to order at 3:01. I am Vice Chair Laura Hansel, acting chair for this meeting. We'll take a moment and let everybody introduce themselves. I'll go ahead and start. So I've been on the committee for a little over a year, but to tell you a bit more about myself and specifically disability related, I come to the committee with lived experience related to acquired and dynamic disabilities. Just to give a brief overview, at age 4, first hospitalized, age 9, first trip to the doctor for joint pain, age 11, first fainting, and so on. But finally, at age 40, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and POTS, a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. And I want to mention it because it's something that affects a lot of people in this day and age with COVID, but I've never really shared my disability story, and that is a bit of it. But let's go online. Do we have any members there? Jessica, I see you if you want to say hello.
Hello, everybody. How's my volume?
Good.
Okay, my name's Jessica Kramer. I'm appointed by Jim Desmond, District 5. I first started attending committee meetings as a guest from the community in about 2020, 2021 when COVID first started, and then was invited to apply, which I did, and have been a grateful member with lived experience as well. I appreciate the term dynamic disability, which I have adopted and use regularly as I have various chronic illnesses and my functional limitations vary frequently and unpredictably. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica. I don't believe we have any other members online today. Okay, let's start down there with you, Paul.
Hello, how we doing, everyone? My name is Paul Houston, appointed by Monica Steph Montgomery under District 4. I have also lived experience, and my concept is real simple. It's just we can do all things together. And also, just with the understanding that, able or disabled, but now able is the concept. And it's always from a thought process, not so much of a physical disability as well, but knowing that, together we can. And that's the way the approach that I like.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi there. My name is Brennan Pearson. Don't know the district. I think it's Joel Anderson, I think, East County. And I am just passionate about advocating for vulnerable populations of our community. Definitely have my own experiences and whatnot, but yeah, looking to really try and bring efficiency, problem solving, effective decision making, and positive outcomes, positive changes for the whole county. Thanks.
Thank you.
Susan Madison.
Okay. Hi. My name is Cynthia Smith, and I would
one
be
moment,
considered.
please, Cynthia. One
Mhm.
moment. We're just going down the line. If you can mute yourself, we're
Okay.
just introducing the committee members.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Susan Madison, District 2, been the at-large member for the committee and the secretary for the group. Currently, I have lived with a physical disability, rheumatoid arthritis, since I was 6, and it impacts lots of things. It can impact eyes, heart, all kinds of stuff. I don't have any of that except a breathing issue because I have a narrow airway. And now I have a hearing loss and I'm old. So that's about it. But grateful to be here.
Thank you, Susan. Going to Jeanette.
My name is Jeanette White Shelton. I'm representing Tara Lawson Reamer in District 3. I have a background in working with employees of the University of California and Kaiser who have disabilities, work-related and non-work-related. And I've been on the committee now about 4 years.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Julie Neward. I am representing District 5, County Supervisor Jim Desmond's district. A little bit about me. Career is managing retail properties. That's about 20 years there. But passion is two nonprofits. One's focused on siblings of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the other one is regarding the Me Too movement amongst people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then I'm also the very proud mother of a sixth grader who has dyslexia, and I am currently actively navigating that. I've been with the committee probably, I think, since the fall, but I look forward to being more active this year and supporting the work. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we do have some guests online. If anyone would like, you can briefly unmute and just give us your name.
Yes, my name is Cynthia Smith, and I'm an applicant to the committee. I'm currently a law student. I served on the grand jury in the year of 2024 and 2025, where I was the chair of the social committee. I currently am volunteering for the police department, for the crisis department. I've been a hospice nurse for going on 13 years. And I have a nonprofit called Parents Against Crime, where I'm the CEO, the owner. And on my free time is actually volunteering.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us and for your application. We really appreciate you introducing yourself. Anyone else online? And no pressure. We're happy just to have you here. Okay, and I should have mentioned that I was appointed by Chair Tara Lawson Reamer, and I represent seat 5 of District 3. Moving on to agenda item number 2, this is a statement for just cause and or consideration of a request to participate remotely, emergency circumstances, if applicable. Do we have anything? Oh.
Member Jessica Kramer is participating via an accommodation as a result of ADA.
Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item number 3, we need to vote on the January meeting minutes. Hopefully folks had time to look those over. Does anyone have any comments, corrections about the January meeting minutes? If not, can we get a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the January meeting minutes as written.
Thank you, Jeanette, for your motion, and seconded by Paul. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
Thank you, Jessica. Sorry, I thought I heard it online already. Any nays? And any abstains? Thank you, Julie's abstaining. All right, that motion passes, so we will adopt the January meeting minutes as written. And moving on to agenda item number 4, non-agenda comment. Members of the public may address a county issue not elsewhere on this agenda. Each speaker may take up to 2 minutes. Speakers may be limited to less time as several speakers have requested to speak on the same issue. Please note, this meeting is recorded. It's publicly available. Therefore, we recommend not sharing too personal of information. The Committee for Persons with Disabilities is prohibited by the Brown Act from acting on or voting on any issue that is not already on the agenda unless it's deemed urgent. And I see we have a hand up. I can't really see the name. You can unmute yourself. I think it says
Wilderness.
Rose. Yes, please.
Yeah, Rose. Okay, well, thank you for letting me talk. I recently have come into needing Cal Fresh, Cal Benefits, Cal Medical. And I'm really fighting this idea that they don't have an accommodations request form. I went in the first time just without asking for accommodations, and I on the form, let me get the name of the form. FD, let me look here. Form CF285. They actually have a question. Do you need accommodations? Do you have a disability? What will the accommodations be? And so I filled that out and I gave it to the lady, and she was so mean to me. She was so mean to me. I cried. I left crying without getting services. And she told me I did everything wrong, and she like was just handing me papers to sign, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And so I went back, and that was in Oceanside. I went back to the another office in El Cajon, and I said up front, do you have an accommodations request form? And he said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. And he said, but I'll help you. So he did help me. He was very kind. Well, this morning I went back to the Oceanside office and I asked them, I said, do you have an accommodations request form? Because I saw that the SAWS 2 Plus does not have that same question of do you need accommodations? And so it's weird that one form would have it and one wouldn't. And then I asked the guy this morning at the Oceanside Live Well Center, I said, do you have an ADA request form? And he said, what's ADA? I was just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. And then he said, do you have like, if I need accommodations? And then he said, well, do you have like a social security, like documented disability? And I said, no, but I have a disability that I can't get funding for, but it's still like an intellectual disability and a visual disability. I have dyslexia. And so I said, I just need extra help explaining and this and that. And he said, no, we don't do that. Um, and you can get a request for someone to bring someone in, and they can talk to us on your behalf. And I said, what if I don't have any friends? And he said, well, then you can call the access line. And so that I just thought I could come here and share my experience, and wondered if there's anything I could do or we could do to get the actual county for people serving people with mostly disabilities to understand what an ADA accommodation is or what the process could be. I don't know. So I just wanted to share that. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for sharing. We appreciate that very much. And
Wilderness, this is Todd Hood, the County ADA Title II Coordinator. So if you will email me with your well, actually, I think I have your contact information because you're one of the applicants, correct?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Okay, so I can reach out to you with the way that you can report the concerns that you've had. We don't need to get into a lot of detail on a recorded line because I'm also the privacy officer for the county. So, but I would like for you to be able to report the experience that you've had, and we can certainly have individuals look in at that.
thank you, Todd.
Thank you. And is this something that could be a process that they don't know about, or is there no process yet? How do
We
we
do have
find that out?
processes. We do have
Okay.
processes.
Oh, okay. So it's a matter of training.
So if you
Maybe.
will give us the
Oh,
opportunity to have any of the information, any of the details that you have, then we can actually look into that.
okay, great. Thank you.
And thank you, Todd. Anyone else for public comment? Jessica, you have your hand up? Oh, I can't see that. Thank you. Go ahead, Jessica.
Thank you. A lot of the work that we did in previous years with the committee and reinforced this year with the Live Well conference panel we did with the sheriffs and the district attorneys is on senior and disability victimization. So I was recently recruited by the Police Officer Standard and Training Commission to be a subject matter expert in the upcoming development of the next elder and disabled adult training video for California law enforcement. We start in a week, and we'll actually be able to bring real life scenarios, create scripts, and then do a professional production of that video. And so I just wanted to share with you guys that was happening. And I look forward to continuing to bring my knowledge and my experiences of senior and dependent adult or disabled adult as it's becoming more well known. There's a assembly bill that assembled a working group to change the term dependent adult. That was signed by the governor and is in the process of being voted on and move forward in the legislature to change the term dependent adult, hopefully to adult with disability, but there are some other considerations on the table. But essentially, dependent adult is very misleading. It implies dependency when in fact you can live independently and be autonomous and have self-agency. And so there's a task to change the term dependent adult to something less misleading and more respectful. And I also was able to be on that working group. So I just look forward to keeping the committee engaged and informed on the movement towards improving abuse reporting and justice for people with disabilities and seniors with disabilities due to advanced aging. Thank you very much.
That's excellent. Thanks so much for sharing, Jessica. And that's super exciting. And we can't wait to hear more about it in the committee. Does anyone else online, if you guys can help me, I can't see hands, it turns out. I think we'll move on. All right. Agenda item number 5, officer nominations and elections. Very exciting. So I think we will start then in the order that they are on the agenda. We'll first do chair, vice chair, and then secretary. But probably to start, we need to, what are our current nominations? I think you have those, Todd or Jaime.
Yes. So for chair, we currently have nominated Jeanette Shelton and Brennan Pearson.
Excellent. And should we go on to do all nominations now and go on down the line, or?
Okay, and then for vice chair, we have Brennan Pearson and Sue Madison. And then for secretary, we have Brennan Pearson, Julie Neward, and Jessica Kramer.
Excellent. Now, I have withdrawn from this election, so you might notice that, and it's been a difficult decision, but as we all know, it can be very difficult to balance health, wellness, disabilities, and the work, especially when you're volunteering. So I've had to make a hard decision to decide to pull my name. But I'm looking forward to supporting the committee regardless. We can take nominations from the floor, and anybody can withdraw their name as well. Julie, we nominated you for secretary without you being here, for instance, I believe.
Okay,
You accept the nomination. Thank you.
I accept the nomination.
All right.
I need to withdraw from chair. I definitely don't have the band. I'm in my last semester of grad school, but
Yes, okay.
after though, for sure.
Yeah, oh, your mic's on. It didn't sound like it was picking it up. So Brennan is withdrawing. I think you could hear. Sorry, I was talking over you. But.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to have someone vice chair, I don't know, maybe,
Yeah.
But ideally, yeah, for the next couple months at least. How often do you do election? Is it only once a year?
Once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes things come up in the interim as people term out or somebody resigns or what have you. So you would like to clarify, are you withdrawing from chair, vice chair, and secretary for now?
For sure, chair.
Okay.
I mean, if the committee has nobody else to take vice chair, then
Okay.
maybe depending on time commitment, but I don't remember what.
Okay, yeah, it is a lot of work, I can assure you.
Because yeah, you were
Yes,
just vice
it is
chair.
definitely a lot of work, yeah. No, thank you, and we do. It's really, it's better to say no than to say yes and then struggle. And it's something law students, very important lesson I learned in law school, but it is better to say no, thank you so much, but this isn't the right time. So I appreciate that, Brennan. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, you went to law school.
Yeah, I know. We tried.
Brennan, is your microphone on?
Yeah, is that better?
That's better. But
Okay,
that's
okay.
fine. Thanks.
Okay, do we have any other nominations from the floor
For chair.
for chair?
Yeah.
Seeing none, we are doing a roll call vote, and I think all we need to do is, can we do this unanimous?
Acclamation.
Acclamation, okay. So all in favor, yeah? Do we need a motion? I'm actually not sure. Do we need a motion or?
So it's a motion to accept Jeanette Shelton as the chair by acclamation.
I will make that motion to nominate Jeanette Shelton as chair by acclamation. All in favor?
I will second.
Okay, yes. Second, thank you, Sue. And then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Oh yeah, do we need to separately say Jessica? Jessica, I think you were on there. Do we have?
I said aye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. Our new chair is Ms. Jeanette Shelton. Congratulations. And I think this is great news for the committee. Yay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I just want to add that Jeanette was our vice chair for 2 terms, 2 years. And so she's understands the ropes. And I appreciate it.
And Jeanette has informed me I'm not allowed to turn the meeting over to her. All right, thank you. We'll move on to vice chair. So we have Brennan and Sue.
I have a quick question just for order of business. Should we do the vote for the appointment at large before we appoint vice chair?
Excellent question. We're going to follow the order of the agenda unless anyone thinks we need to discuss it.
It's just that Sue's spot is up for vote, so I'm not sure if we should vote for vice chair if she may be appointed and then we, for whatever.
Yeah, so it will take the at-large position several months to actually get confirmed, regardless of who it is today. So there's no reason. And first of all, also Sue has a vote on that issue. She had been removed from the room last time. That actually shouldn't have happened, I don't think. So we were trying to be very careful, but Sue actually gets a vote on that issue. But there's nothing precluding Sue from serving in any officer position. And then we also have other seats open. So I think there's a lot that could happen. But the plan is to proceed with the election of vice chair and secretary, moving on to at large. And if anything needs to be changed down the road, then we'll address it then.
Sounds great.
So you'll want to take nominations from the floor for vice chair.
Yes. Any nominations from the floor for vice chair?
And 3 times.
Any nominations from the floor for vice chair? One more, yes. Any nominations from the floor for vice chair?
I'm sorry. Does that mean we don't, is this, my bad. Does this mean adding or removing anybody or?
It would be to add, yes.
I got you.
Anybody can withdraw themselves. So right now we have Brennan Pearson and Susan Madison. So we will proceed with a roll call vote. And Paul, I'll start with you.
So each person should just say the name.
Susan Madison.
Susan Madison.
Susan Madison.
I'm going to go with Susan Madison.
Susan Madison.
Susan Madison.
And Jessica.
I'm going to go with Brennan Pearson.
Okay, thank you. So we have the vote passes, and Sue, you are our new vice chair. Congratulations. Thank you very much. It is a lot of work, and I am here to support you when available. All right, moving on to our secretary position. We have 3 people already nominated: Brennan Pearson, Julie Neward, and Jessica Kramer. Do we have any? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
I'm going to withdraw my name.
Okay. Jessica's withdrawing. So then we have Brennan Pearson and Julie Neward. And do we have any or other nominations from the floor?
Do we have an option for discussion or questions?
Todd, do we have an option here? I believe so.
Go ahead with your, we'd have to do the motion. Well, there's no motion that needs to be made. So yes, what's the question?
Just wondering if either have any interest or why, or.
I think,
availability.
Jessica, would you like to hear from the candidates, is what you're saying,
Yeah.
maybe like a minute each or something?
Yeah, thank you.
Julie or Brennan? Julie, go ahead.
Why did you guys put my name on there? Does someone want to answer that?
It might have been me. I actually don't recall.
Sounds good. I can accept that.
I'm not sure. It was, yeah. But yeah.
I am interested in the position of secretary. I have two nonprofits that I am the founder project director of. So I am well versed in working with various perspectives, as well, relatively familiar with how things should be managed and organized. My note taking, I usually use AI now, so I will do my best as secretary to serve this committee and represent everybody's interests.
Thank you. Brennan, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would love for Julie to take the position. I think she would be incredible. And I had signed up when I thought I had a little bit more time, but as midterms are coming in quickly, full-time work, grad school, it's a little much. So,
Yeah, that is very understandable, Brennan. So Brennan is going to be withdrawing his name.
Is that what he said?
I'll withdraw my name. Thanks,
Good
Todd.
call. Thank you. Well, I think we still just need to see any other nominations from the floor. I didn't do that 3 times yet on this one. Any other nominations from the floor? Going twice. And last time for good luck, any other nominations from the floor for our secretary position today? Okay, then I will make a motion to have Julie Neward serve as our new secretary by acclamation.
Second.
Second it? Is that-
Sorry, Susan.
Yeah, Brennan seconded it. Thank you,
Oh.
Brennan. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, congratulations, Julie. The motion passes. You are our new secretary. Thank you very much. And again, definitely willing to offer some support. And Sue has done that position. And were you a secretary ever? No. Okay.
Presiding chair, I just wanted to say congratulations to this committee for a couple of things, not just for completing this election, but also for having a competitive election where you had more than one individual this is. I think I've been with the committee, serving this committee for 6 years now. And I'm sorry, it'll be 7 years in a bit. And this is the first time that we've had a competitive election. I do believe that a competitive election is a symbol of a functioning organization. So congratulations. You should be proud of yourselves for having people that are stepping up, which I think leads into the at-large because looking at the numbers and the applications of individuals who have applied, it attributes to this committee and the activities and the work that you all are doing that is really getting some attention, and people are recognizing and seeing that there's value to this committee and that they can come and make a contribution to the county and to the community overall. So again, congratulations to those who have served and who are no longer serving, as well as those who are now coming on as the leaders of this committee. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Todd. And that is an excellent point that this was a competitive election and that we're growing our committee. So I think that's super exciting and goes to what we can accomplish as well as our sustainability. Agenda item number 6. This is our committee business, and the first item is our at-large member election. For those who may not know, the committee is responsible for appointing one member of the committee. The Board of Supervisors individually, each one gets to appoint 2 otherwise. So Susan has been our at-large member. So her term has ended. She is eligible to serve another term. We also have applicants that we've received via email, their applications. That email, in case you need to pull it up, is from Todd, January 14th. And there is a really good pool of applicants overall, which is great news because not only do we have our at-large seat, we also have seat 1 in District 1 to be filled, seat 2 in District 1, and seat 4 in District 2. Is that right? Yeah. Those other seats are currently open. So the at-large position allows the committee itself to appoint a member of our choosing instead of the Board of Supervisors. So that's why it's a great way to get involved with the committee, but for us to have a say as well about our membership. But of course, we have great applicants, and I want to say there's nothing that precludes anyone from going to their supervisor and saying, you know, we'd like this seat filled. I thought this person might be great, what have you. So to start, we wanted to have a conversation about this, and so I'm not sure how best to do this because we don't have like numbers for the applications or anything.
Actually,
Do we?
each of the applications had a number on them. And so I did send out they were coded and anonymized as much as I could. But I did send out a notice to each of the 9 applicants, which, by the way, 9 applicants. I'll let you know that. And then, so a couple of them, we had representation from District 1, District 3, and District 4. Just for background, and thank you, Brennan, for asking that question, the committee has 11 seats. 10 of those are appointed by the district supervisor, 2 seats per supervisor, and then another criteria or requirement is that at least 50% of the applicant of the committee is an individual with a disability. So we did receive, as I mentioned, 9 applicants that have applied to their own districts. So these individuals are in consideration by their districts as well as at large. And I did send out a notification that this committee would like to consider each of these individuals in the at-large position with a bit of a background, a little summary about the at-large position being a 2-year term versus a 4-year term. And then as well, I did receive back a level of interest from 5 of the 9 applicants. So D3JC did state that they were interested. D3SM is interested, and then D4CS, D4KP, and D4SS. So we do also, I wanted to say that we currently have representation from D4 on the committee. D3, I believe, has a vacancy that will be filled. That will hopefully be filled. D2 has a couple of vacancies. I'm sorry, D1 has a couple of vacancies with a couple applicants. So hopefully the district staff offices will be able to review these individuals and make considerations. I will inform the staff offices of if one of these individuals, whichever one of these individuals is voted upon by the committee for an at-large position, I will inform their district office that they are now they're serving as in an at-large position. So keep looking.
Quick question. Is there like pretty new, obviously, a couple months in the committee, but is it ever looked at like strategically, like if there's, I guess, like someone that's applying from a district that already has the two seats full and then wanting to get the other seat? Or I guess just a real quick rundown, I guess, how is that analyzed? How is it?
The committee can take into account
Okay.
if the committee desires to take that into account, the committee could take that into account.
Okay.
Yes.
You do not need to be appointed by your district is one thing that's important for people to know. You'll
Oh,
correct me if I'm wrong.
you don't need to be a resident
Right.
of your district in order to be appointed by that supervisor
Exactly
for
what I
this particular committee. But most supervisors, in many cases, we have examples where individuals that are currently on the committee were appointed by a supervisor outside where are not a resident. But in some cases, supervisors are really strict on determining a resident they want a representative from from
Okay.
their district.
Good enough. Thanks. Yeah.
And then the process, if they're not appointed by the supervisor, the committee can, or
The committee can appoint any of the individuals. I would say that based on the people who had responded to me, I would say that these individuals have voiced an interest in this seat.
thank you.
Okay, this matter is open for discussion, our at-large member elections. People.
Was there like resumes sent in, or are we just?
Yes, so from the January 10th email, we have applications from that. And Todd, if you could again read off the 5 that responded to you, perhaps?
They are in gold on the screen, but D3 JC, D3 SM, D4 CS, D4 KP, and D4 SS have all agreed that they are interested in the at-large seat.
What date did you say? January 10th?
January 14th?
14th.
January 14th. It's an email from Todd, appointments to committee.
Got it. Cool.
Jessica, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. I noticed that we have a new person that joined us online, and with no pressure, wondering if we can give the online applicants another opportunity to introduce themselves if they want to.
That seems fair. I like that idea.
Yes, please go ahead. Is anybody else online that didn't get to introduce themselves previously?
May I speak?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Pecora. It's nice to meet you all. I'm actually going to withdraw my candidacy. I believe I'm D4 KP application, and it's not for any any reason related to this committee. I think I'm realizing as you guys are discussing on using more time to understand the purpose of the committee and what the commitment looks like and would look like for me as a representative. So you will have my resume on file, and I hope that this position, knowing that there are a number of candidates here, will be able to fill this at-large position, and perhaps I'll be the D4 candidate or the District 4 candidate if that, makes its way eventually. But it's great to meet you guys. Thank you so much for having me here. You have my application, but just very briefly, my name is Kate Pecora. I live in Mission Valley of San Diego. I am an individual living with a disability. I live with muscular dystrophy, specifically spinal muscular atrophy, and I am a wheelchair user. I love being a person with a disability because I think it gives us such great insight to all of the ways in which we are uniquely human and have very interesting and diverse needs that we as a community need to learn how to accommodate. So I own my own business and I work in consulting for pharmaceutical companies and patient advocacy companies that want to align and engage on exactly that, a community engagement. I also serve on a number of committees for individuals with disabilities across the county, including being one of the 2 founders of the San Diego Accessible Rider Coalition for paratransit services. and I'm also a representative on the the City of San Diego Accessibility Advisory Board. So, like I said, remove me for now, and I hope that I someday I can come back and take, either another at-large seat at some point or that D4 spot. But thank you so much for allowing me to be here today, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you for sharing, and we hope you'll stick around for our transportation discussion. And it is a really good idea for anybody listening to follow committee business, watch recordings, ask questions, and get to know the work, get to know the people perhaps. Let's see, Julia, you have your hand up.
Yes, hello. I am on the ballot, I guess you could say, for the at-large position. My name is Julia Cervantes. I am a student at UC San Diego, so District 3, and I think my interest in disability advocacy and policy really stems from my lived experience being diagnosed with arthritis when I was a teenager and then navigating that as I have become an adult. And I've really focused a lot on disability initiatives and advocacy for children and young adults because it's such a developmental time. So definitely focusing with younger children, but then also with college students on my campus and the general themes of professional development, but then also like social and emotional learning and really making sure that youth voices are heard in this space. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I look forward to getting involved in this committee in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. And Wilderness, throwing it to you.
Yeah, I think I need to withdraw my application. I totally forgot that I had applied. Also, and my life has drastically changed.
That is totally fair. And again, I appreciate anyone, protecting your time or knowing what your bandwidth is. And some of these applications I noticed were over a year old. So
Yeah,
that's just good for people to know as context if things have changed since they submitted.
thank you.
All right, then we have 4 remaining applications for our at-large position. Any discussion? Sue, would you like to say anything?
I'm just reviewing. Oh no. I'm just,
You know me, and to know, love me or hate me, and be responsible for that. So, I love serving. I've done this my whole life. But it's challenging to prioritize the work between meetings and all of that. But I'm very glad to have served and to have known you all.
Thank you, Sue. I'm going to take a moment because Sue's very modest and she has served this committee with great gusto for some time. So I'm just going to read from an email that we sent to Sue when this term came up. Dear Sue, on behalf of the County of San Diego and the Committee for Persons with Disabilities, it is our great honor to commend you for your outstanding leadership and service, your performance in your roles as member and secretary of the committee, and most recently leading the We're Better Together, a collaboration between the San Diego County Committee for Persons with Disabilities, the District Attorney, and the Sheriff's Department panel discussion at the Live Well Advanced Conference and School Summit has been nothing short of exemplary. Your ongoing dedication, organizational excellence, and collaborative spirit over the past 2 years have been instrumental in advancing the committee's mission. The clarity and professionalism you bring to the committee have strengthened partnerships, fostered understanding, and amplified the voices of persons with disabilities throughout our community. And you have been an amazing source of support for many of those on the committee as well as staff. So as the committee appointed representative for seat 11, Sue's term is extending through January 9th, 2026, and then she serves until this position is replaced. And you have consistently demonstrated integrity, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to inclusion. Your contributions have not only enhanced the committee's effectiveness, but have also left a lasting positive impact on the lives of those we serve. There's a lovely email that Sue received, not written by me, I might add.
We do have an individual that has called in, and I don't know if I don't know the identity of that individual. With the last four digits of the phone number is 0388. Would you like to?
I think they said Cynthia. They had spoken.
Yeah, it was Cynthia Smith.
Okay, that was Cynthia. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Cynthia, is anything else you wanted to say now, just to give you another chance? You gave a nice introduction at the beginning, but
Let's see. Basically, I'm always been interested in the public health sector, the social services for the disabled and mental health populations. When I was employed, well, we volunteered through the grand jury. Our job was to go out and make sure that the government sector is doing all possible to keep their end of the bargain with different entities that's going on in San Diego. So that was always kind of interested in me. And like I said, with me being a law student and a full-time nurse, because that's what's paying for my law school right now, I bring back to the disability individuals with myself. I have deaf in one ear. And basically, you know, I had to find services on my own because they said my age was too young for me to be qualified for certain services. I end up have to, you know, come out of my pocket with what the insurance wouldn't pay. So I'm thinking that, you know, there needs to be more services out there, you know, for the disability people who aren't able to find those type of entities that's out there to help them, you know. So that's my part in interested in this committee is, you know, what can I bring to the table to help others, you know, get the services that's much needed. So basically, that's why I applied for this committee.
thank you, Cynthia. We really appreciate you being here. And I will just say it is no small thing to get accommodations in law school or the legal realm, generally the legal field.
Yeah.
Okay, so how we'll do this then is people can make a motion to nominate an applicant for this position. We'll need a second. And
Actually, what we'll do is each individual will, each committee member will say a code. And so even though some of the codes can be deciphered here, but we'll go from committee member to committee member, and each committee member will have a vote for one of the four that are gold.
is there? Okay, that sounds good. Julie, do we need some more time? Does anybody need time to think still?
A little more.
Okay,
A minute.
let's just take a moment. We're pausing for a moment while people think. And Jessica, I see your hand up.
Thank you. I really appreciate your attentiveness to my presence. It's very meaningful and different.
I just want to interject that we do have a new camera today, and it
Oh.
is changing the situation on our end for the better. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for everyone that made that happen. I really appreciate it. So I just want to share that there has been an emphasis and a mandate for many other boards, committees, and commissions to have a youth member. And I know that we don't have that in our charter. Oh, shoot. Sorry. We haven't been mandated to have a TAY seat, which I believe is an individual between the ages of 18 and 25, but feel free to correct me if I'm not saying that properly. But I do feel that having that representation is very significant to the holistic nature and the work that we do. So I just wanted to elevate that consideration, and I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, let's move forward on this. So we have 4 applicants in gold on our screen for the at-large position. This is a 2-year term that will begin probably in whenever this gets confirmed, which takes a couple months at least. And I will go to you first, Julie, to switch it up.
I just
You're going to
state the
say
code?
yeah.
D3SM.
D3SM.
D3SM. And Sue, you do have a vote on this.
Can I not vote?
Yeah, you can abstain.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Brennan, to you.
I thought the youth thing was interesting. So I would vote D3JC.
I'll abstain.
And Jessica.
I am going to vote D3JC.
Okay, so that is 3 for D3SM and 2 for D3JC. And so it goes to D3SM. Congratulations to Sue Madison. Thank you, Sue. Congratulations for staying on your at-large seat. But this doesn't change anything that we still have 3 open seats. And I will say that, the committee, I hope we do keep an eye on getting a wide breadth of experience on the committee.
So I would also ask committee members that have an open seat in your district to please implore your supervisor's staff to fill that seat and to make an appointment, especially in light of the fact that we have so many very qualified individuals that are interested in volunteering on this committee. So I'll leave it at that, but I will ask each of those committee members to reach out to your district staff to see if we can get these appointments. Thank you.
And then if there's not one on, let's say, my district, District 4, you said they can come from other districts, but do that person, let's say, reach out to that district supervisor?
Yes.
That would be the appropriate way to start the process?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to reinforce that idea to everyone that applied. Looking at the resumes, you guys, I think would be amazing to have on the committee. And so, yeah, even if you're not in the district where a seat's open, if you were to reach out to that county supervisor's chief of staff or whoever, try and see if you could get appointed. We'd love to have you join.
Excellent. Yeah, you can usually find out who handles the supervisors' appointments and committees and appointments. But this is really exciting. I love to see so much interest. I really appreciate everybody coming to this meeting and speaking, and I'm really excited to get these other seats filled. I think that's going to be really quite a good committee. So we will move on. We're still under agenda item number 6, committee business. We're moving on to talk about our teleconference plan, which is almost more exciting than elections, in my opinion. And so we last time had Supervising Deputy County Counsel Randall, how do you say Randall's last name? Sobloom came and spoke to us, which was very kind, answered a lot of our questions, and the committee has received via email the memo dated December 11th on teleconferencing. And Todd, I believe you said today via email to me that the County Committee for Persons with Disabilities is on a list to be considered for teleconferencing.
Yes, your committee is approved to be eligible for remote meetings. So congratulations. So we do have the process. I will be providing that documentation to the chair so that documentation can be executed and sent to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. And more to come on teleconferencing. I do say that It is a challenge, and this committee has experienced it. The challenge when one individual or whoever is participating remotely, there is a challenge for equitable access when others are in person. So I recognize that the committee really works hard to recognize the individuals that are remotely participating. I will be working with the chair and vice chair and secretary to make a determination whether there should be hybrid meetings or whether the entire meeting should be teleconferencing. I will still be in, we'll have staff in the room so that the public can participate. That'll be a requirement that the public will be able to witness if they so desire to be in person. But of course, the public can participate teleconferencing at any time. But I did want to give that update. So congratulations. And I think this will assist individuals to be able to participate on a more regular basis. So looking forward to it.
This is a really positive development for inclusivity and equity for sure. I think for a lot of us, it can be very difficult to physically get to these meetings. And I will share that honestly, for myself, I'm sick after every single one of these meetings. And it's really hard to get here. And so if we were doing this online, I know that that's something that would benefit a lot of us. So my understanding is, Todd, is that we need to submit something to the Board of Supervisors at some point. They need to approve it. I think we need to resubmit it every 6 months, but of course, there's going to be ongoing discussion about this. But does anybody have questions, comments, concerns now from the committee members on this?
I have a question. Sorry. If we were to vote as a committee to do the teleconferencing option, is it possible to do a mix of that? So, I mean, every other month, a quarter of teleconferencing, because I don't, other than traffic, it's not hard for me to get here, but I would, and I know it is difficult for a lot of others, but I would miss the social aspect of it. But I also understand that we need to have quorum every time. So there's that balancing act.
But remember that Thanksgiving meeting the day before, you could have checked that casserole and also done the meeting. I was going to say, I can't recall if this is in this memo or something else that's on my mind, but I thought there was a requirement to occasionally meet in person or at least once a year or something to that effect. But we'll look into the details of that. And I think that's a really good point. And it is, I want to say, hybrid meetings are very tough. Having attended them, having run them, having been at them, it's really difficult here in the room to see what's going on online, to know what you're hearing. And vice versa, of course. It's very hard sometimes to know what's going on in the room or there's microphone problems. So we really appreciate everybody's patience and grace. And I think that all of that will just get better. The camera today, honestly, I think you can all see us clear. Yeah, we're using OWL, whatever.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
actually, I had to disconnect the owl.
Oh. This is Member Kramer. I know that in the last meeting, we did discuss possibly a quarterly in-person meeting. So I just want to elevate that. I really do value those members who do make the effort to overcome the various barriers and to be there in person. And I miss approximately, I think, 6 meetings a year during the viral season because I'm immune compromised, but very committed to being there for the other half of the year. And do feel that it can be difficult, but more importantly, feel the reward of being there together. And I do very much miss being there when I am not. So I would also like to have at least a quarterly in-person meeting. Thank you.
I agree. There's a lot that gets lost in not meeting together. We all experienced that during pandemic, probably. And so also, obviously, having disabilities can be isolating. Not having disabilities, people can feel isolated, but it's another reason to have that mix. So I'm very excited about this. If you haven't read it, I would urge everybody to read the memo from Mr. Soblum. It's dated December 11th, 2025, and it would have come to you in email from Todd.
I'll be sending it out to all the committee.
I think we can move on from this, and we are going to review our bylaws. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to look them over. They were last updated February 11th of 2025, so it's been about a year, but that's when they were first written. See, I was here, but I was not here for the work, but I was on the committee at that point to watch you all pass these. So there's some really good information here in the bylaws. And it's my hope just that as moving forward, I think one of the things that we can do that will help support committee work is to really, when these things can be really hard. We can have a lot of feelings. A lot of passion comes up for many of us on many of these topics. So if we are able to refer back to what is our mission, what is our powers and duties, and what are the bylaws, what are the procedure, I think that can help us move forward in business to take some of the personal feeling out of things at times that could happen. So I hope that we'll be able to rely more on procedure bylaws, Robert's rules, and again, just referring back to what our mission and purpose is, as well as our scope and jurisdiction. But I think the idea here was to review the bylaws, going over them. Does anybody have any comments to start? Or
I would actually think it would be helpful, if anybody will indulge me, to actually read the guiding committee work principles.
Love that.
I think that's a good idea for us to always, like you said, always come back to. So the major principles guiding committee work shall be to assure the self-determination of persons with disabilities, provide persons with disabilities with the resources and educational services necessary to enable them to achieve their fullest potential, and to provide them with an equal opportunity to participate fully in the social and economic benefits of our society.
This is great. And this is Section B, powers and duties. The part of this one that I actually really catches my eye, and I hope the rest of you agree, is the Chief Administrative Officer shall provide necessary staff support to the advisory committee. We have great staff support, but I think we could use more support in some areas too, because I think that I don't know, this committee is probably 0.01% of all the tasks staff has. I'm not sure. But this is a really good thing to refer back to as our Section B, powers and duties. Thank you, Jeanette. In Section C, nonpartisan, that's one of the aspects of this committee work I like so much, is that it is nonpartisan and should be nonpartisan. So Section C says the committee is a nonpartisan, nonsectarian, nonprofit making advisory committee. It does not take part officially in, nor does it lend itself to any political issues. No political clothing or paraphernalia shall be worn at any time. And I think this is a really good thing for us to remember, especially when tensions are perhaps higher at the federal level. So as people probably know, our Board of Supervisors is also nonpartisan in the County of San Diego. And also, I think this is a good time to just reiterate that we are appointed to serve as volunteers. And I know myself in my work sometimes outside the committee, I will need to clarify that I do not work for the county committee. I am a volunteer appointed. And I think that's something good for all of us to just be aware of, that you want to be careful not holding yourself out as an official county employee, because we certainly are not. And we serve at the pleasure of the Board of Supervisors. Anyone have any comments on nonpartisan, Section C? Moving on to Section D, advisory only. This is one that I think we all struggle with at times because we want to do so much. And I think, Brennan, I think this has come up with you as a new member, being like, we got to address this now. And us saying sometimes like, well, actually, we don't have the authority to address this matter right now. So we are advisory. The committee is advisory to the Board of Supervisors only. So we cannot mandate, we cannot tell them what to do, we can advise and urge. The committee is not empowered by ordinance, establishing authority, or policy to render a decision of any kind on behalf of the County of San Diego or its appointed or elected officials. Any discussion here? Yes. All right. Article 2 is a membership in terms of office. I'm not sure that we need to go over each of these, but the membership, Brennan, to answer your question, under Section A membership, under Article 2, talks about us appointing one member to the committee. And again, the committee members shall be residents of the County of San Diego. Not less than 5 members shall be persons with disabilities. And that is something today I noticed that if you do move outside the county, you do need to give notification. We have no more than 11 members, hope to get there soon. Terms of office, this can be a little confusing, but basically you serve your term, and then at the end of that term, you serve until your board of supervisor has reappointed somebody. It's kind of, yeah, it's 3-year terms to be reappointed at least once. If a board of supervisors term ends for any reason, 4-year term, if a supervisor leaves the board for any reason, those folks would stay in their position until the
new supervisor
is appointed.
Question?
Yes.
And then when the new supervisor is appointed, what's the process after that? Or
So then then we go back to the applications as we were looking to before. And so what happens with that is the individual supervisor will advance somebody for recommendation. Then the entire board of supervisors, usually it's not a big discussion. It's on consent, done at the board of supervisors meeting. The next board of supervisors meeting, I think, is after this meeting. The next one, that would be a big one. But that's a great question. Okay, let's move on to duties. This is an important thing. Article 3, duties. The Committee for Persons with Disabilities shall have the responsibility to do any of the following. And y'all, there's a lot of power in here. And I think for me, reading this is where we can lean in more, is into this aspect. Because there is so much we want to do, and there's a lot we can do. So we can study and evaluate county charter provisions, ordinances, policies, and proposed policies to determine their implication for persons with disabilities. Study areas of concern as they pertain to the lives and needs of persons with disabilities. These may include, but are not limited to, coordination of client support systems, health, education, employment, recreation, housing, transportation, architectural barrier safety, and related matters. This one I'm going to put a plug in for. Conduct workshops for the county personnel and/or community groups. I think it would be so great if we were able to do more workshops, which is why we would need more support on staff as well. But for instance, to do a workshop where we help people develop an emergency plan, or we go over it, or there's so many things we could do here. In the Blue Envelope program, it could go on and on. Participate in the conduct of public hearings dealing with matters related to persons with disabilities. I think that's a very important one. Not sure if that's come up previously. We can utilize county resources and facilities to accumulate information for the purposes of furthering the objectives of the committee. That is a very important part, for the purposes of furthering the objectives of the committee and not for any other purposes. We can prepare and disseminate information of matters related to discrimination and prejudice. Formulate programs or legislation to promote and ensure independence, equal rights, and opportunities for all persons with disabilities. Provide liaison and assistance to county or citizen groups interested in the problems facing persons with disabilities. Initiate application for grants from all levels of government and private sources for carrying out the purposes of the committee. I do think grants is another area that we could really make a difference, but that is a heavy lift in my opinion. Serve as the county's advisory committee of Section 503 and 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, the Americans with Disability Act of 1990, and related rehabilitation matters. I think this is relevant because, again, at the federal level, there are discussions ongoing about Section 504 specifically you might be aware of, and if not, I'd encourage you to learn more about that. So each member of the committee, however, represents the entire population of the county in performing committee's duties.
Should I jump in on that list?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I don't know. I think that has some really good things, like be a liaison. I mean, I'm all about partnerships. Like I find in business and life, that's super, super helpful. And so I don't know, like historically, again, I don't have much historical knowledge, but being, finding citizen groups that, can also advocate alongside us. And if we can somehow maybe get a list of a contact that is their chair of that board or that community group, we can like tap them if we ever have questions or something relevant that they might be interested in also. And then also grants. I was just curious, maybe Todd would know, how are grants working? How can we utilize grants? Can we use the county grant writers? I imagine they would have something like that. Just curious more on that.
You asked a lot of questions. So
I've got more.
you can certainly, if there are grants that you feel that a program that the committee is interested in executing or conducting, that you'd be able to make application to that grant, regardless of whether it's a grant from from a county department or from federal, state, local, or even if it's a community organization. So as far as utilizing grant writers, I think we'd really want to have a little more information on what having more of a proposal of this is a particular grant that we'd like to participate for or compete for, and are there any resources that might be able to be used would be
Two questions on that. One, has the committee ever gotten a grant in the past?
To my knowledge, the committee has not applied for a grant.
Hasn't applied.
Right.
Okay. And then if the committee were to receive a grant, what would we have a liberty to use that for?
It would be a targeted grant probably. So
Based
for
on
an
something.
example, for instance, just something that came to mind when we were discussing paratransit and this 3/4 mile rule that you have to be within 3/4 miles of a station. But for instance, someone could live a mile and a half away. Now they have to get themselves 3/4 of a mile. And so we were saying perhaps there's grants to do something to expand that program. So that would be a transportation related grant. That I don't even know if that exists, but that it has come up in meetings that those are possible solutions.
Okay. And then I guess following up somewhat related, are we as a committee able to create an agenda item for a county supervisor like board meeting?
No.
The
You
committee
can
can't
certainly
request.
make a request to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, I was just thinking like if there's something really important, maybe everyone that is interested or capable could show up, which might help give some leverage, I don't know, in terms of trying to accomplish something that we think would really be important.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and it's something else we've
I
discussed.
agree with that.
Yes, is that it would be really great in our limited bandwidths if committee members can attend Board of Supervisor meetings, other committee meetings, city meetings as well, just to have as much information as possible. And I agree with you also, Brennan, that we want to identify more stakeholders and invite them to these meetings, opposing and for. We really need to hear all perspectives. So, for instance, if we have some great idea for a solution, maybe there's somebody out there we don't know, but they are very opposed to it for some reason we haven't thought of. We'd want to know that. So I do hope that all of us as ambassadors to the committee can get the word out to encourage public participation, to find those stakeholders and to bring them into the conversation.
Yeah, I was thinking too along those same lines is I know we're not as large now, but when we are, I like something like a subcommittee for go to these private sources or government sources or whatever companies or organizations, but that subcommittee can uphold that and head that. Then we can look at the applicants and what type of target audience we want to go after or to assist with us.
Yes, Article 5, which would be the next item in the bylaws after the roles of the chair, vice chair, and secretary, which I think we've discussed enough for now, is Article 5 subcommittees. Jaime, yes. Oh, Jessica. Yeah, I can't see the people anymore.
Jessica. Oh, yes, the screen sharing feature. Thank you so much. Yes, to speak to both what Brennan and Paul addressed, and also you as well, acting chair. last year we identified a strategic focus area and a gap with regards to county departments, in that there is not a ADA interactive process available for residents and community members that is equal to the county's HR ADA interactive process. And we identified that as something that we would advise on. And under Umberto's leadership, who, for those of you who don't know, was a member and acting vice chair for a period of time, he guided us and led us to actually identify a supervisor who could create a memorandum based off of a draft that the committee initiated, and could take that memorandum to the Board of Supervisors for the Board of Supervisors to vote on that. One thing that I've noticed in county budgeting with various departments and issues is that I rarely, if ever, see a budget for the ADA interactive process, which includes the duties of the ADA coordinator. One thing you hear a lot of is the ADA coordinator being an office of one. And I know that we see how much our staff person here, who is an incredible, does so much for us. But increasing the duty of the ADA coordinator in every organization that contracts with the County of San Diego. And we focused on housing, behavioral health, aging and independent services, health and human services as some of the pilot departments where we could really help advise. So I could see us doing grant work to help budget for that. I could see us conducting workshops for county personnel. I could see us formulating programs and being very influential. But I promise you guys in 2026 that I will be continuing to work with Jim Desmond's office, who offered to sponsor that memorandum and bring it to the Board of Supervisors. So I just wanted to bring that back up as we talk about all of the amazing things that we can and will do in this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Love that.
Susan.
I wanted to go back to Brennan's point about grants and all of that. Very intense. I've been a grant writer for an organization, and it is very intense. Time limits, fast stuff, turn around, you get the idea, maybe have 2-3 weeks to spin it and get it out. But I think then what would that be like? I thought I heard you ask. Good question. And I would say, go back to what Jessica just termed them to, our 4 strategic areas. That's what this group already decided is our priorities. So it'd be a lot easier in my mind to wrap around housing or transportation like Laura referenced or something like that as a focus, and then start there. But you have to have partners a lot of times with grants. You have to be able to, the funding source needs to know you're capable of executing it.
Right.
And I'm not sure we have a great track record on that yet.
We don't have one.
Well, that's why I'm here. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Loved it. Yeah.
But when we partner and network with other similar organizations around that focus area, they probably have the credibility and the infrastructure to carry it off. If we can't come prepared to a meeting to adequately discuss transportation, for instance, which is hard sometimes if we don't show up, we're not prepared, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Then how are we ever going to convince a funding source? But we can do it. And it's just a time sensitive thing of develop the partnerships while you're researching, funding sources.
Maybe like once we get closer to like, I guess, the 1 or 2 key things we want to really focus on implementing, then get that. And then I'm also just starting to go into thinking, like tying it all together is like, well, if we got a grant could somehow, maybe with the memorandum thing, if I understood that right, or somehow get something on the supervisors board meeting to be voted in, or put up a bid, like put out a bid where it's like, okay, if we get a grant for $100,000 for transportation for something, could we put a bid out to then contract with NEMTs, non-emergency medical transports?
See,
You got to fact check me, Sue.
we don't have the capability to do that. I
Okay,
don't
okay.
have the capability to do that. And I know the staff don't have that capability. So it's like, it's dangerous sometimes to over promise and under deliver, as you know. It's very,
Yeah.
it's a horrible thing about how you destroy a relationship, really,
Mhm.
by under delivering and over promising. So I think we can go down that road, and we should. That's why these are in here.
Back burner. Yeah.
But we just, well, you build it as we go down the road. You build it.
Yeah.
And Julie, you had.
Thanks, Sue.
I do. I have a question. Number one, I just want to comment, Brennan, great perspective. And thank you so much for being engaged and asking all these great questions. I have been there. And it's a journey. So on that journey, I'm going to ask this committee, you guys have been on a journey for several years. And what I'd like to know is what has been, and I've heard so many wonderful things. I know, Jessica, there's been many wonderful things. But can somebody just share three successful projects? I guess I'll just say the word projects. What did you do and what was that impact and what was that bandwidth like? And did we get the end result that we wanted? Because we have to look at what we've done, where we've been. And I'm going through this right now, where we've done and where we've been, because I know a lot of ideas can be talked about many, many times, but it's time to dial in, focus, and put together a plan. So share with me some wins. And I know that what was it, a couple months ago, we talked about our focus areas, right? We had like a
Yes.
workshop. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be quiet and listen.
Now, before we go into that, I did want to say that the agenda item is to review the bylaws. This is great. This is a great discussion. I think that it should be agendized to really look at the strategy of where the organization will move forward. This particular agenda item is to review the bylaws, and I think there were people who had comments on making changes to the bylaws.
Can I motion to table? Can I motion to table
Tabling would be if you're wanting to table the review of the bylaws?
No,
We can just move on with
It's
the
more-
review of the bylaws.
So, yeah.
to put it on the
Yeah.
agenda. Okay.
We can do the rest of this part of the
This part, yeah.
conversation at the next meeting.
Okay.
And just to that point, just as a friendly reminder, we still need to do an annual report, which would answer Julie's question to some degree.
I am in the process of writing. And I will have it to Todd in draft form before I leave in April.
Okay, acting chair here. Let's go back to the subcommittees, but I think what's important to know is that there's different committees we have most of them are under the Brown Act. So our standing committees, and I think this could be a great function to advance more work and allow people to meet outside meetings. We have this, you would still have public meetings on these issues, but that might be a way to get more work done. We have our executive committee, the chair, vice chair, secretary, who meets to establish the agenda, handles things that come up in between, things like that. A nominating committee that would need to be up to 3 members and start no later than September each year. And that would be is that for all of the positions? I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're such a small committee that we've never really felt it was appropriate to actually form a nominating committee. People just put their names in and got nominated and take nominations from the floor, and it's worked well.
I like that. The coordinating committee, which if we had subcommittees, we would have a coordinating committee comprised of the chairpersons of all the other existing subcommittees, special committees, task forces, and ad hoc subcommittees. Unless I'm wrong, this is not subject to the Brown Act. So this would be for temporary purposes, limited discussions, special purposes. committee reports, that is an important one. All subcommittees would report at regular meetings at least quarterly on their work. This could be oral or written unless specified by the committees. What I do like about the subcommittees is that membership can be made up of not just committee members, but the general public and others. So this is where I feel like we could extend a hand and collaborate more and engage with the community and stakeholders and have those conversations that, quite frankly, we don't have time to have in 2 hours once a month. I feel like, to the degree that they need to be had. Yes, candidates, be ready to hear from us. Okay, so the purpose and scope of each subcommittee shall be included in any motion to form the subcommittee and incorporated into the committee's meeting notes. And then there's the role of the subcommittee chairperson. So I want to stop for a moment and see if anyone has further comments here. Okay, moving on to Article 6, which is organizational procedures, where it talks about governance, voting, meetings, and quorum. So governance, section A, we are using Robert's Rules of Order to govern the operations of the advisory committee in all cases not covered by these bylaws. The committee may formulate specific procedural rules of order to govern the conduct of its meetings. And Robert's rules can be really overwhelming, but again, I think that's an area we could all study more, and it could help our meetings when we know what to say, which sometimes in the moment, I'll say the wrong thing, but we get the thing done. Section B is voting. Any group voting at a duly noticed meeting is based on 1 vote per person, and no proxy, telephone, or absentee voting is permitted. So meetings, the committee meets monthly on a duly noticed day, time, and at location designated by the chair. I don't know about that. All meetings of the committee and its subcommittees are open to the public and shall be subject to the provisions of Chapter 9, Part 1. We'll go through all that. And special meetings may be called at any time and place designated by the chair. Notices of regular and special meetings shall be given by the committee staff pursuant to the government code relating to meetings of local agencies in accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act. And then quorum. So this is one where so a good example right now is however members we have, our quorum didn't change. We lost a member, but the quorum stayed the same because I think we had 10 members, 9, and so it was 5. So we need 5 to be a quorum. And now we're 8 members, but you still need 5 to be a quorum because it has to be more than 50%. But that's something really good to keep in mind. And it's something that it's really important. We want to run these meetings properly, procedurally, that fosters trust and transparency and will help us better achieve our goals. But I will say that it's every time the question comes up is like, how many is a quorum? So everybody remember, and that number is going to change. Okay, Article 7, amendments. These bylaws may be amended at any regular business meeting by a 2/3 vote of the currently appointed membership of the committee. Bylaws may be reviewed by the chair, vice chair, and committee members as needed. The amendment must be submitted in writing to the Board of Supervisors for approval, and that's very important. And then we have our standing rules as Article 8. Standing rules may be adopted by a majority of the quorum at any regular meeting. So that would be 3 people right now. After they have been adopted, they cannot be modified. Wait, is that right? Majority of the quorum? Yeah. Math is not my strong point, but they cannot be modified at the same session except by a reconsideration. At any future session, they can be suspended, modified, or rescinded by a majority vote. And so these bylaws are currently effective with the approval of the Board of Supervisors. And yeah, we can talk about if anybody has anything they would want to possibly change in these. Or...
I have a question.
Yes.
And the answer is probably here and I just missed it. But are we supposed to review this annually?
I don't think it's stated. It just says we can review it.
And then with that, what was the purpose of having it on the agenda? Was there a desire to make a modification?
No, just to go over them because we have new members and new seats. That as well, in case anybody does have anything. And I see Jessica's hand is up. But really, again, these bylaws are really important. And it lists the roles, our function, what our parameters are. So it's something that it's good to refer back to. And it's very readable. It's 4 pages. Oh, I'm sorry. 5 pages, and it's a good thing to reference back when we have a question. But it's good to try to internalize it and know these things as well. But I find I need to refer back to it. Jessica.
You're on mute.
Sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure where we made the decision about letter writing. I thought it was in the bylaws, but after studying them and having this thorough meeting and review, I see that that is not on here, but that was something I wanted to address. In short, in the past, letters were written by either staff or an appointed position within the committee and then signed by the person who wrote the letter. Everybody in the committee's name was on the letter, like as a formality. And then last year, with the change in leadership, somehow it was decided that only the chair's name would be on there. I personally got feedback from supervisors' offices about, looking for the names of their appointed representatives. And I think it's very important that everybody's name, we don't all have to personally sign each letter. We don't all have to personally write each letter. But I do think as a matter of format, every person's name should be on the letters. Although I see that's not in the bylaws, we've discussed it as a bylaw. So I just wanted to bring that up right now.
Thank you, Jessica. And I think maybe the place it would have came from is the role of the chair. If the chair shall be presiding officer and the official spokesperson of the organization. That's just what my assumption was. I just want to add, and I think Jeanette has something to add on, but you and I have spoke about this, Jessica, and there are a couple of easy solutions. I do think that the letter should be signed by whomever on behalf of the committee. But I think an easy solution that I would assert to get everybody's name on it is to have a different letterhead. So for instance, at nonprofits I've worked in the past, along the left side margin, in not too small a font, it would say chair, name, vice chair, name, secretary, name, and then in alphabetical order, according to last name, the rest of the committee members, or however we decided to organize it. But then maybe it would say your district or your seat. But then everybody would be listed along that left-hand side, and there would not be that question about who is this from, who are these committee members, and having to go to another reference point to look that up. So I think that's something we could easily fix, and the new executive staff will probably be.
There are branding guidelines for county stationery, so we can look at what format would fit.
Excellent, and I'm happy to supply an example of what's been used in the past at nonprofits, and it looked nice.
I appreciate the last comment I have before we move away from the bylaws.
Yes, go ahead, Jessica.
Thank you. I'm just taking a breath because I want to be very tactful, but also honest. So I have been on this committee through now 5 chairs. And so I've seen different leadership styles. I'm very much looking forward to Jeanette's chairmanship. I have experienced Jeanette to be extremely inclusive and helpful, as some of you know, but I'm going to share with those of you who don't. When I started on the committee, I did not have a vision disability. And within a couple years of being on the committee, I developed a significant optical nerve injury that really affects my ability to do emails and screen time. And it really became a source of frustration and contention over the last year of feeling left out and feeling like I wasn't getting information. And staff has gone above and beyond to accommodate. And I've also gone above and beyond to learn how to be more of an audio learner. And many members have gone out of their way to make sure that I'm included. But I did also experience our previous leadership not including me. And I'm looking forward to not experiencing that anymore. But previous to our last chair, the 3 chairs before that went out of their way to call members before meetings and make sure that they were engaged about the agenda. And I found that to be deeply meaningful. I'm not putting that pressure on Jeanette. She's already done that for me as an accommodation to help me be included. But I just found that to be very meaningful. And I know that we're going to move into this next year being very considerate of people who have different barriers. And as we have new members, whatever barriers may develop from that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica. Susan, I think you had, did you have another? It's gone, she says. Okay, well, going back to that, Jessica, because I'm definitely aware of time too, but I think that we can have a conversation about how we can achieve better equity, and that is a great conversation for this committee to have. And I think it goes to support, to everybody carrying their part of the load. And I hope we do work together. Like this meeting, for instance, we're not being good about saying our names beforehand. And so it's really gentle reminders and working together, because it goes both ways too. When we're in the room, sometimes it's hard to hear online. I can't see what's happening, and vice versa. So just really giving each other grace. And it's a real thing that maybe somebody needs lights up high for their disability and someone else needs lights lower for disability. So we have sometimes conflicting needs. And so that also needs to be addressed as best as possible. But these are really hard challenges, I think, at times that this committee faces. And it's something perhaps more unique to this committee than other committees. Did it come back to you at all? Okay.
3 o'clock in the morning.
So that was reviewing the bylaws.
Yeah. Anybody have anything further on this, or I think we can move on? Oh.
I think there's an agenda item. We should have a discussion on the next committee meeting about the stationery.
Yes. I think that's hopefully an easy one, but yes, Todd makes a great point about branding guidelines, uniform look, those kinds of things.
Yep.
Maybe we can request an accommodation.
The next topic is working group, transportation accessibility.
So yes, our working group topic today is transportation accessibility. We don't have a ton of time. How is everybody feeling about this conversation right now? And we had people online as well with experience in transportation, but it does seem like each of these areas could be a subcommittee, the transportation, housing in particular. Oh, one thing I want to bring up right now, actually, in relation to transportation accessibility and what we're doing here, is if folks didn't get a chance, it'd be really nice to visit the 2026 legislative program. Todd, bless your heart in the best way, you sent us an email on December 24th. Your happy holiday email also contained, I'm sorry, it's really funny, the 2026 legislative program. So happy holidays. So those, one moment. So the priority issues mentioned in the last meeting for the 2026 legislative program of the County of San Diego State and Federal Policy Platform by the Office of Economic Development and Government Affairs for your consideration. Advancing housing solutions, bolstering the behavioral health systems, combating climate change and protecting the environment, which is very related to transportation in my mind, as is housing solution. I mean, all of these go to transportation in my mind. Ensuring safe communities. So that's disasters and emergencies, wildlife prevention, community safety, gun violence, and Proposition 36. Reducing homelessness, safeguarding the social safety net of nutrition security, healthcare and reproductive care access, support for veterans, early care support and education, older adults, and responding to the Tijuana River Valley sewage crisis. But I think that this is a good way for this committee to gain traction and also interact more with our board of supervisors. It's usually their appointed staffer that we're talking to, and I would encourage everybody to be in touch with that person, perhaps quarterly, to let them know how great our work is and what we're doing. But I think it's helpful if we are paying attention to this legislative program and how our work complements and fits in, or possibly does not, and we need to have further conversation.
Would the committee desire to move transportation accessibility and hold that for the March meeting?
I think that's an excellent. Do we need any vote on that? Any motion? Okay. Anybody opposed to that though? Jessica? All right. Yes, that is a huge lift. I mean, we've picked 4 areas that even one area we could work on for 10 years.
Mhm.
This committee is certainly ambitious. So let's move.
I would like, I'm wondering, Todd, one time we had the staff person from the county who does legislative issues
Oh,
for the state. I don't know, you're not nodding your head.
No, I'm
so-
sorry. Go ahead.
county
I'm
liaison to
listening.
the state. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering if we could have someone like that come
That'd be great.
and just address our 4 focus strategic areas with any positions, information around those from that legislative staff person. It seems to me they're going to know a lot about the good stuff and the bad stuff, and maybe even supported introducing legislation from the county level. We should know about that. If it's anything around transportation, housing, behavioral health, and emergency services. That would be my recommendation.
I love that recommendation because going back to the community stakeholders, that's something that I know I've experienced on this committee, that we're talking about something and I feel like I need a background portfolio and to do my own research. And I am nowhere near ready to engage in the conversation to actually do anything. And I don't know, I find that very anxiety causing. No,
So that would be under future agenda items. Did you want to cover off on accessibility resource document before we move to
Yes.
future agenda items?
This came up at our last meeting. And so Todd has, we have an example of like a possible resource list. And this came up in the context of when we have public comment or when people come to our meetings, we want to be able to easily refer them somewhere and be able to offer resources. And so we talked about updating this and having it available on the website and then able to refer people to it as needed. I think what we would need mostly is if people have resources they think should be included, perhaps send that to the chair and Todd. Jeanette is nodding her head.
Todd, I thought I saw a much longer accessibility website link that you sent out
You had one.
with a different set of resources.
Yes, actually, Sue, you had sent, though, the city's ADA office has an ADA compliance link that you had included. And then somebody had said grant resources would be good. Maybe a list of nonprofits. That's from our last meeting or what?
So the Office of Ethics and Compliance, under accessibility, we do have a list of county boards, commissions, and committees that are dedicated to topics that relate to people with disabilities, as well as we have a listing of community-based organizations, and that's on the website for the county Office of Ethics and Compliance. So those are a couple of different, basically what I'm sharing on the screen is what we did as a handout for the Live Well Advance and School Summit. And then as well, we also do have, I think the concept is that the committee has the ability to make a determination as to what form and format you'd like to have and what entities do you want to either link to or something of that nature.
Yeah, and Jeanette has the committee's county website pulled up right now, and there are San Diego resources listed, starting with 211, and there's about, I don't know, a dozen there. So if committee members can go on the committee website and look what's there and maybe compare it to our Live Well document and see what else we might be able to fill in.
I think we need to I would always recommend bigger, because the things that bring people here publicly a lot of times are very broad.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to be about, let's have free parking at the doctor's office
Right.
for people with disabilities, or, hey, I'm being discriminated at in my apartment. And so for me, there needs to be as broad a brush. 211 certainly is good. But and the agencies and community organizations that Todd referenced is spot on to your question about networking and partnerships.
I've been waiting to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I have a couple questions. Are we able to, I like the idea of putting everything in like one place. Like if, especially on our page on the website or something, are we, I guess question, can we bring somehow like link the ethics and compliance list to our website, or somehow get that list? I'd also kind of, I'm interested in, I think like getting, like you're saying, I don't know if we have to limit it to just our four areas, our focus areas, but if we can, I think find like, I don't think it'd be too hard, like find a list of like all nonprofits that serve elderly, disabled, youth.
Elderly living.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I just think it'd be super valuable because, you know, reaching out to 211 is awesome. They're usually able to direct. And then, but then a lot of these are like county. And as we've heard already, from public comment, it's like sometimes you go in and it's not always effective. So then finding the community citizen groups that might be able to have, you know, experience with that and how to navigate. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, we don't need to have any community organizations around our four areas. That's for us. That's our priority. But yes, we should be able to partner with any community organization, any county agency that whose mission is serving people with disabilities.
And then on our end, I was looking at focusing on target populations because sometimes it's so large that we may have to bite off a chunk at a time. And when we look at that, you know, with disabilities, you know, you got the young youth, 18 to 25-year-old, you have adults, then you have elderly. So we may have to start with one at a time, you know, than trying to the whole mass. And then once we, you know, perfect, want to get real good at it, then the next population will be more easier or the most needed population. And then we have to break the demographics down to the most needed, which would be maybe people unhoused or, you know, with disabilities. So we have kind of, once we get the whole lay of the land, and then we can kind of target a little bit more, you know, target it a little bit quicker and more efficiently and effectively.
We also know who to reach out to potentially invite them to an upcoming meeting that has a certain topic. So that's
Yeah,
another-
definitely.
It's just to build our network, build community. It's really all about community right now. I feel like that's the answer always, but especially right now.
And just to mention, I get excited at the idea, I'll just be honest, of having an email sent with the signature line of like county government email, because that's like that opens doors so quick. Like I feel like people would, you know, if you email from the county and you're like, hey, we're trying to do, you know, do something government level, people are way more they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. They usually takes away all their, they know it's not sales, they know it's like, they know it's, yeah. So
Get through all the spam filters.
yeah.
I would have to agree with that because when I worked for Judge Hallahan, the judge of the Superior Court, and the DA at District Summer Steffen, when we went to go and when she put her signature and then we put our signature, you were able to open doors faster. People would acknowledge who you were and they stood by her and what she, you know, she represented in the county, and they would make things happen. So I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the highest, the best. I mean, Summer Stefan, you don't
Yeah.
ignore an email from Summer Stefan,
No,
basically.
no,
So,
we didn't even ignore the email. So yeah.
yeah.
Do you have anything? I think perhaps we are witnessing the evolution of this committee in real time before our eyes today, and I am here for it. I'm loving it. And I think the future is really exciting, and there's no shortage of work that can be done on behalf of the county. Any last comments on this from committee members?
Member Kramer,
Yes.
I remember to say my name. Yeah, I think each one of us has our own specialized area of focus. And so as we're building this resource list, I know I'm excited about putting together the resources that are in my wheelhouse. And I think if each one of us takes some time just to put together a list of resources within our area of expertise and bring that into the larger list, I think that'll be really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
I think that's good. Is that an agenda item under new business?
Yeah, I
for the
second.
Yes.
I second that. Yeah.
Bring your own stuff and make it happen.
Yes.
Yep.
Agenda item number 7, new business future agenda items. So public comment requests.
This was with
Office of Emergency.
follow up with the parking.
Oh, yeah. So I've been in touch with Mr. Sergio Padilla, who brought the parking issue to us. We've been playing phone tag and email tag. I have a phone call scheduled with him tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. to follow up. And I'm just reaching out in my capacity as a citizen, not on behalf of the committee, and just will be sharing my own advocacy and legislative experience with him to hopefully give him some other resources. And he's very passionate about this, and we love that for citizens. Anything else? All right, with that, I believe we are ready to conclude our business today and adjourn this meeting. Nothing online? Okay, at 4:51, adjourning this meeting. Our next meeting is March 18th, 2026. Thank you, everyone, for your participation today.